Hey, how's it going? I have I'm just gonna read you something, and I have cards, but man, so many came out. I don't even know if I'm gonna use them. Whoa, I don't want you to do that. Hold on, just a second. Excuse me. Trying to have some quiet music down here for me that I can't let you hear, because then I'll be in trouble. Legal trouble. Sorry. So today, I don't know if this is gonna work. This is a very precarious setup I've got going here. First, I guess, look at my signs. And I was going back and forth. Did I want to do a Spirit TV critic video, which is when I focus just entirely on some piece of media, like a movie or a TV show or whatever. And then I decided that the subject that I wanted to talk about, I think it deserves its own episode. So it is going to get a Spirit TV critic video. So, but what I want to talk about today has been on my mind for a while. Actually, it does have like a specific beginning, and it was Trump's first term. So I'm going to read to you about, well, let me just read it to you. Loyalty. The definition is a strong feeling of support or allegiance. It doesn't say anything at all about why anyone gets to the place of having the strong feeling. This leaves the whole idea open to speculation, so let's go! As the kids say. I don't know if I have that right. But yeah, let's go. So, these days, the word itself is having a bit of a resurgence because a fossil insists he needs it. That's the thing. To my understanding, strong feelings for or against come from something, someone, or somewhere. Born of an event that makes a person's trajectory change. Some impression has been made, a difference upon you or your thinking. Something happened to incur that in us. It reminds of something else. It reminds me of something else. I noticed people doing. Wait, I seem to be missing a word. Something I noticed people doing, and it was saying that they were being disrespected. Oh, that's what it reminded me of. Is when people. Well, let me continue. I noticed people doing. It's something I noticed people doing, and it was people saying they were being disrespected, angrily informing surprised strangers that they have disrespected a crazy-eyed individual. You hadn't, like, they didn't even notice this person. I have been in that situation where you're interacting with no one else that are also in a public space, and you possibly bump them, or even they you. I don't know, because it happens, right? Like, sometimes you accidentally bump someone, but you haven't, like, injured them or broken their possession. There's not really a need to comment on it usually. So it happens though, right? Inadvertently, or you do that thing where you've looked, let me get this right, where you've looked at someone the wrong way. You know that thing. When all you were doing was passively scanning when you turned your head or something, like, your eyes gotta go somewhere when, when the lids are up. I don't know. It's not all about you. Suddenly, a sweaty, wide-eyed face intrudes into your personal space and is accusing you. You learn to stare back and say, I don't know you. I would have to know you to feel that strongly about you. And 2 seconds ago, I never laid eyes on you. Not until you forced me to. I don't give respect or the reverse until it's earned. So how can I possibly disrespect you? Or some variation of that, because it's happened a few times. Enough so I pretty much have a patent speech. Isn't that terrible? Like, you got some nut just walking up to you deciding that you, like, did all these offenses, and you're like, you're who now? It's a certain type of person. Where am I? Yeah, some variation on that is how I usually deal with it. It made me think of loyalty and the way the aforementioned fossil dredged it out of the past. Trump is insisting upon loyalty. Blind loyalty, and there's the problem I have with that. For one thing, I don't think loyalty is what you'll end up with if it's required. To be clear, it's like I said in my last piece, you can't buy better. You can't buy respect you can't buy better nor respect or loyalty or nor neither nor. You can't buy any of those things. If you're buying it, it's not the genuine article. Like, that's not what you're gonna end up with. There's another feature to this pledge to be loyal to the loyalty, because it amounts to a humiliation ritual. Show your loyalty by not snitching on me, and to make of it an even more odious factor, you must participate in some sort of crime, some sort of criminal activity I can then use to control and trap you with. That's his loyalty. That is... so they want you to commit a crime so they can then trap you with and keep you loyal. Going back to the beginning of my remarks, none of which is what the definition of the word is. Is it? No, it's not. It's a perversion of the meaning. Like everything the fossil does, it's off color, off legal, and off true. I just can't comprehend the idiocy of hitching your wagon, the hopes for a successful career, to someone like the fossil. I can't believe anyone thinks that's a good idea. It's like the whole world practically screaming all of the cons with the guy, no pros, and to not even take a look at the possible veracity of the claims. It just seems so damn dumb to me. Like, if you got this gigantic plurality of people all saying something is wrong with this person that you want to go get behind, I mean, I would at least say, well, if that many people are saying so, it might be worth a look. I mean, not even an at least. That is like a red flag. I'd be all over that. Like, whoa, I should check this out. I mean, I'm sorry. The majorities generally rule for a reason, because they're right. Pardon me for a moment. Yum. Okay. This is weird. There's no fruit anything in that, and it tastes like raspberry. It's coffee. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So, where was I? It was talking about all the people shouting, "Don't do it," and people going, "I ain't listening to you," even though there's so many of you saying, "Don't. There's sharks, crocodiles, dragons, poison, assassins, like everything. Don't go there." And they're like, "I'm not gonna check out a thing. I'm just gonna go." Whoa. I suppose it's. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything good about that kind of abandon. Anyway, let me see if I can find my place. Oh, I was saying that if you don't look and see if people are right, it seems damn dumb. That, however, appears to be what's happened. I don't only mean politicians entrapped in his "the fossils" schemes. I mean his voters. Some of them are feeling regret, and those of us who have tried to appeal to them feel joy. Not because they are like in regret, and it's because they're seeing and possibly they are going to avoid some of the pitfalls of following this guy. So yeah, those of us who try to appeal to them feel joy and relief. It's a start. Fingers crossed. Monkey see, monkey do. Me monkey, monkey you. Eventually, the scales will tip, and the remorse and anger, retribution / reversal of destructive practices and restoration of order will begin. Again, fingers crossed. But I have a pretty good feeling about it because, there was that whole plurality that I was talking about. They were like, "No, we don't want to go there. We don't want to do this." But, I mean, they're gaining membership of people also going, "Oh, no, I wish we didn't do this." All is not lost. That's what I'm saying. All is not lost. I mean, come on. Lost my place again. Yes. Eventually the scales will tip and the remorse. Okay, I did all of that. We unfortunately think we know what's best for people we disagree with. People we often think we can better decide what they need and should want than they themselves. No, stop it. We know what they seem to need. Sorry, again with air quotes. We know what they seem to need. And want, but don't recognize it for what it really is. What we think is right for ourselves is not the same as what others we presume to know for, what is wrong or right. Like, well, you know what we know? Like, and I'm talking about the left and the right. What we on the left know is there's a difference. Like on the left, people are more inclined to want to do things for, like, the benefit of everybody. And on the right, it seems to be more the consensus that to, look out for your own self and screw everybody else, kind of, sort of, completely. So that means to me that people are perceiving things in different ways. Like the left can be all, "Yeah, but this is for your benefit. Like it's going to be good for everyone." And the right is like, "We don't care about you. We don't care about everybody else. The money that you would spend on other people, I feel like I would do better with it. Like, fuck those people." That's kind of how it is. So it's like one side, and I don't even know if I'm right about this because I will lean to the left, but I feel like it's that one side is like, "We're not forcing you to do anything, but here's all the reasons why this is good." And then we feel like the other side is like, "Well, we don't want you to do this. You used to have this, but we don't want you to have it anymore. We don't think that this group should do this. We don't think that these people this color should go here and have this, that, and the other thing." It's like a lot of giving on one side is what it feels like, and wanting to just take it from you on the left, like whatever was given should be taken away. I can have stuff, I can have lots of stuff, I can have all of the stuff, but the rest of you either get your own or get out of here. Like, that is my perception of things. But like I said, I lean to the left. If I lean to the right, I would probably think what I feel like is force and ugliness and aggression and intrusion. If I leaned right, I would probably think that was just fine, and I wouldn't think of it in those negative terms at all. So I feel like we don't afford that to each other, the understanding of our misunderstanding of each other. Although logic tells me that, you know, we've in the past been able to agree to disagree, and if that's what it takes, I feel like that's what we have to get back to, because the way it is, even though we live in a polar world, society, universe, whatever, that doesn't ever work for long. There has to be a mutual consensus, enough to the point where everybody's getting a lot of what they want, if not everything. But you just gotta learn to live whichever way you lean. You have to learn to live with the not getting all of it, because you can do that in your house, you can do that in your, you know, establishment, and if it's private, but that ain't how the world works. You know, like, in order for one person to have and own and control everything, then a whole bunch of the rest of us got to agree with that. And that's kind of what we're looking at right now, I feel like. And I am not into it. Like, no. How am I doing on time? Not bad. Okay. So, where was I? We presume to know, for others, what's wrong. And especially without finding out first from those people that we're making all the presumptions about and for. We need to, like, talk. That goes both ways, whichever way you lean. Conversation has to happen. We can't be shutting each other out, shutting each other off, shutting each other down. Because otherwise, it's just... Look, I don't want to live in constant conflict, okay? That's stressful. That's tiring. There's more to life. There's fun. There's happy. Like, all of this stuff is, like, not happy making. But we have to deal with it, you know. So, back to it. So they and I don't know this doesn't go both ways. Like, I don't know that it does or not, is what I'm saying. Like, what they like, but they forced it upon you in the way they perceive it being done to them. And I know that's a mess syntax-wise, so I'll just say, on the left, we perceive the right foisting stuff on us, forcing us to do things. And we think that we're, like, offering something that everybody should just be all like, yes, this is going to be good for me, and then also everybody else, and that's just not. Like, why don't we learn that? Over and over, that is the lesson. The two sides perceive things differently, but I think what we share is we both think we're forcing stuff on the other. So I think we need to work on that. Get that clear. Okay, so technique aside, it doesn't matter who's being referred to, left, right, or the wasteland in between. The focus is on making it so everyone is part of the whole. But we haven't landed on quite how to make it be. Don't get me wrong, we've gone back and forth. Forced and relatively free. For example, right now, votes were made and the results applied as it was meant to be. Only problem is a bunch of us who were trying to break from the collective and being relatively free. A lot is being rescinded, a lot more than people were led to believe we're gonna be. The words some of us expected to stay lies, he finally came through and was telling the truth on. And I really saw some shock yesterday like people from the base, as they call the MAGA or the Republican base, were like, wait a minute, we didn't think he was gonna do this. But he said it. He says a lot of things, and a lot of times it's just baloney and it's just bullshit. But all of a sudden, they're like, wait a minute. He said he wasn't going to do this. He actually told the truth. And I have to laugh because they knew he was lying. If they're saying, like, oh, if they're like all shocked that he did what he said he was going to do, that tells me they were expecting him to keep on lying. They knew he was lying. Isn't that an interesting little insight? I thought it was. It could be an opening, though. Think about what I was just saying, like a minute ago. So, let me find my spot. Don't get me wrong, we've gone back and forth, forced and relatively free. For example, right now votes were made and the results applied as it was meant to be. Only problem is a bunch of us who were trying to break from the collective and being relatively free. Those like pushed the vote over Trump's way. A lot is being rescinded, a lot more than people were led to believe. The words some of us expected to stay lies, he finally came through on. It's taken some time, but it's always been the case that a lot of us are not fans of live and let live. They would prefer to be able to prevent a lot of people's pursuing their lives and dreams, at least in the way that they would like to do it, with relative freedom. That's where it stands right now. The usurpers are fighting to steal control of the USA, to transform it into a non-threat to our adversaries, especially the one in the White House, the fossil behind the Resolute desk, a man who's for years made clear his admirations for countries whose governments are run contrary to the way ours is. Like, he loves dictators. He loves authoritarians. Dude, he loves the North Korean guy who's starving his people to death and sending them over to die like cordwood tossed on a fire. And he's got them so wrapped up in all these mind games that they can't even get together with each other to rebel against him. Like, they're in such a narc-on state, as in they will narc on each other if they get out of line, even if I hate to use this term because of what I was just saying, but this seems like it's really not in their best interest to not rebel. Like, I mean, the dude is starving you and he's got you, like, tattling on each other to the point where, you're so hungry you'll eat, like, notebook paper rather than go rebel against the little fat man that has apparently eaten all of the food in North Korea. That is the kind of state that Trump admires. And so, taking away a lot of the freedoms and opportunities that we have here, that's how he would achieve his version of North Korea or China or Russia, or where's Orban from? I don't know, someplace small that's been, I think this has happened to that place for centuries, and they need that dude off their neck. They need authoritarian off their neck so they can feel relative freedom. Sorry, soapboxing it up, so I ain't gonna get off here. So, where was I? Ah, yes, the fossil behind the Resolute desk. A man who's for years, blah, blah, blah. I already said that. They are trying to bypass our systems to run roughshod over this country and the rest of us living here that do not want things to run the fossils nor his handlers' country's way. And if that last bit was confusing, and his handlers' would be whichever spy from Russia is keeping him under Putin's thumb remotely. Get it? Got it? If you didn't already, I hope you got it now. Good! Sorry. Just a little bit, because I didn't need to be yelling at you. I want you to listen, not get mad and leave. Please, pardon me. Okay, so I'm wrapping it up here. The man, Trump et al., are a stain on this country, and it has been their intent. He's even ruined a perfectly good, more or less retired word and got his greasy taint on that too. In my opinion, loyalty is now a dirty word. Thanks a lot, Mr. so-called president. So, yeah, like, I feel like loyalty, I think the way you would hear it most often previous to Trump was about your Safeway loyalty shopper coupon card. It wasn't like big in the lexicon, and certainly not the way he's using it, like loyalty or else. Like, loyalty has to be earned, in my opinion, just like respect. And he's like the sweaty, crazy-eyed guy, all, you don't respect me, you disrespected me? I don't know you. There has to be some interaction happening, but the first one that you just started off with, poo-poo column, that one, bad. So, okay. I did pull some cards, or, I mean, like, a whole bunch came out, so we'll just see what happens. I don't know if I'm going to do all these, but, how am I doing on time? Not bad. So, the first one is Skybridge. Possibility for union. It is the number 47 card. Number 47, if you do the numerology number on it, it add the 4 and the 7, it comes to 11, which is not only a master number, but it's also sort of like symbolic of the two coming together as one, the masculine and the feminine. Briefly, because boy, that is involved, but I'm not going to go into that. So anyway, the Skybridge, possibility for union. And it reminds me of the tarot card. Uh-oh. The one with the wolves, and it's like night and day. Why can't I think of it? It's a card about passage, and I can't remember the symbolism of the water in the photo, except for water represents emotion, and I want to say change, kind of. But also, there's a saying that can be applied to a lot of things, but it has to do with one drop in the ocean being both indistinguishable and perfectly unique. To sum it up, that's not usually how I see it, but you know, when I see it written somewhere, but I feel like that's essentially what it means. So the two I guess towers on either side of the steps there, the Skybridge. Well, actually, a Skybridge is a thing, actually, now that I think of it. If you go to, like, an amusement park or something, like, I don't know if Disneyland still has an attraction like this, because I haven't been in 1,000 years, but there was, like, a Treasure Island type deal, or I forget the Disney story, but some kind of island, you know, adventure where, well, for the story of Robinson Crusoe, right? That was there when I was a kid. So Robinson Crusoe was this guy that, I think he ended up shipwrecked on an island, and he just had to, like, make a life out of what was there, kind of like Gilligan's Island, where coconuts and palm trees, like, make everything. But at Disneyland, they, like, the Skybridge is literally planks with ropes through them that you walk and it's over, like, water or whatever, and it's obviously at Disneyland it's completely artificial, but yeah, I don't know why I had to go into all of that other stuff to tell you what I could have just said the ropes and the planks to begin with, but maybe it all is going somewhere, or it means something to somebody else. So anyway, I was thinking finally when I saw Skybridge of that type of suspension bridge, but this actually looks like kind of what I said in the first place, like either steps going into the sky or steps carved into the side of a mountain. I think would kind of look like that. And you know, I mean, it does seem to be taking a straight central path, but it also seems to be coming in off a curve or something right through there. I don't know what that is I'm looking at. I guess it's just irregular shapes, but you're on the way into this bright, bright light, which, I mean, is that the consummation of union that they talk about at the bottom, where there's the possibility of? I was talking about, you know, the left and the right in America, but that's just how these things work, you know. It's like a thesaurus for events. Yeah, union between this country's people that are in disagreement, and both of us wrong about what we think the other wants and needs, but we just don't realize it. Isn't that a funny little aspect of it too? We think that the other people don't know that this is what they need or want. It's like, that is not how either of those things work. Not wanting or knowing. Like, you do know what you're knowing about to a degree, and you know also what you want because you have your reasons. Like, it's not just... I've met so many people that... It's a weird thing, but I know, like, so many people do it. That when they stop talking to you, like, hang up the phone, turn off the screen, or, like, the visit ends and everyone leaves each other. It's like I think this is more of a phone communication type thing, but it's like when you sign off with them, they think they turned you off too. Like you're some kind of robot or something. I don't think that about people. I just sounded like a sheep there. I did not mean to do that. But anyway, I don't think that when I say goodbye to someone, they just shut off until the next time. They have their life. They're still doing stuff. But isn't that a weird thing? But I bet you have kind of had that thought, but without even realizing it. And the only reason I say that is because I've met so many people that do that. So either it's like a way that people treat me, which kind of sucks. Like, what am I doing that people think that I'm only there and, like, pertinent when they're interacting with me, and then, like, my importance is just, as soon as their notice is off of me, I'm just like, nothing? But I have met people like that, and I guess that's a you're only useful when I need you kind of situation. Rude. So the next card is Falling Angel, Spiritual Narcolepsy. So I always remember, there's a book for these cards, but I'm not gonna pull it out to read about it, because I remember that for this card, the number 19, which is 10, so that's another 1. And the name of this card is Falling Angel, not Fallen. So, and then Spiritual Narcolepsy is the subtitle. And so I feel like right now we are in a place where things could go either way. Like, we're falling, but we don't have to become fallen. We don't have to fall into the ways of crooked loyalty. We don't have to commit crimes to satisfy someone else, or to, like, shackle ourselves to someone else so that we can't save ourselves even if we expose them, which is also ridiculous, because don't do the crime if you can't do the time. And if you're unhappy, then deal with it. Like, grow a nut and say, yeah, I did this and it was illegal and I'm wrong and I'm sorry if that's how you feel, but don't just let it keep going on. Say, but I didn't do it alone. I did it with and because of such and such and here's the receipt. Like, at some point, we got to make the decision. Are we going to let this happen, or are we going to, like, say hell no and start doing things to stop it? That has already begun, I'm happy to say. Hold on, I need to take a drink. But the situation is also in flux. So I feel like the spiritual narcolepsy is the uncaringness, the complete. It's like psychotic. It's like sociopathic. The degree to which the people don't care. We, the people, don't care about each other. We're acting like we're real enemies of each other when really what it comes down to is we don't like and want the same things. That's not the same as, hostile takeover of your land, property, or body. It's like proportional. People, I know we get all worked up, and I know that media gets us all worked up, and conditioning gets us all worked up, and personalities. Like, we just might be that kind of person that likes violence, and I'm not saying that that's a permanent condition, but it is a choice. So you don't have to be that way. But like I was saying about something happening to you to incur loyalty or respect, something has to happen with us like that. So we almost never just come to a decision to do something without a catalyst. Like, if I'm wrong, please, in the comment section, explain, present your case. So the next card I'm pulling is number 23. And it's 2 and 5 is 5, so it's Fortune's Wheel, luck and right timing. Okay, so 5, the number there, the 23, we'll do the numerology. I'm going to turn it into 5, which is commonly with tarot associated with change. And if you're turning the wheel for, whatever you're after, good fortune, I suppose, that's kind of what you do with sort of the fortune's wheel. Luck and right timing, that's interesting, because if the subject is loyalty, then it kind of shines a little bit of a light on why, if you can see things wrong, if you can see some cons with the guy you're about to hitch your wagon to, and then you decide that you're gonna, like, those are gonna be okay, you can live with them happening, probably because they're not happening to you directly, and also because you're gonna get what you want out of it. If you're lucky, just remember that this is the guy that, how many people have been his associates that have also done prison time? A lot, if you include those January 6 people, and he just pardoned them. But that pardon is junk. Like, for one thing, there's a whole bunch of them that are getting out, and the things they're getting arrested for that they were already, like, in trouble with it before this all happened. All I'm going to say is there's a lot of MAGAs and QAnons on the right that talk about saving the children and anti-child abuse and, like, all just saints and angels for the children. And, man, already, like, several of them are arrested for trafficking, child molestation. Just like, well, you know what? That, molesters end up at the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts or the YMCA or at the school or where the kids are. Like, the perverts go where the kids are. So, and then they will scream and yell, like, how many Congress people or legislators have there been in the U.S. government that shamefully left because they were gay? Like, why do they have to be ashamed of it? Why do they have to leave? That's the whole other kettle of worms that I think is a stupid thing, but we're not going to talk about that right now. Luck and timing. Listen, if you have the luck and the good timing to hitch and, like, make good behind this guy, good on you, but I don't know. Like, I don't, I don't feel like, I don't know. I feel like if that happens to someone and they move on unscathed, they're just in for something bigger and worse down the line. Like, because they're just going to continue compounding the offense. But yeah, change. We definitely have that going on right now, and it is, again, it might be like a throw of the dice, a turn of the wheel, like a toss of the coin that will determine which way we're gonna go. Are we gonna line up behind Mr. Crooked and the criminals? Or are we gonna, and who wants to like take down our literal way of life? I'm not a fan, so I'm not gonna get behind that. And also, there's a lot of reporting that his behind is leaky and stinky, and you don't want to literally be standing behind the guy. Hey, I didn't make it up. Apparently, there's proof to that, so I'm going to talk about it. So here's the thing. This card is the Covenant card. It's number 7. 7 is associated with Spirit. God. So, this is the Covenant card, and the subtitle is Sacred Contract. You can see there's I'm going to say parchment scroll for writing out the contract, and it's blank, which, contracts can be written and altered and changed, and so the contract is up again for humanity, and it's not just USA, it's also the world, because all over there is a struggle between people that just want to live and, okay, we got to work and we got to function and we got to do what we got to do to also help. Like, everybody plays their part in making things work properly, making things happen. And, that's kind of like a collective agreement. Like, it doesn't even require a contract, really, but what does require a contract is loyalty, because you gotta adhere to a bunch of rules, and you gotta have NDAs and make all kinds of underhanded promises and do things on the DL and that are not on the up and up. Like, just staying with the loyalty. So, like, I was talking about loyalty that requires your, especially a contractual agreement. Like, that's not what loyalty is supposed to be about. Like, it doesn't say anything about drawing up one of these and making, like, it is supposed to be something that you want to do. It's like a calling, just like you're not going to respect somebody that's rude and smells like poo, but I don't know, some people do. I don't understand that. I don't even know where I was going with that. I just think it's a bad idea. Like, he's just a bad faith guy and emblematic of this horrible new, it's actually not new, but it's kind of new for this country, because this kind of stuff may have been going on behind the scenes, out of sight, but just to be out in public talking about, you, general citizen, you better be loyal to me or else. Like, the rest of us are like, excuse me, I've already been working my butt off for some rich wiener like yourself that I never even see, and you're gonna come in here and start demanding things of me, and don't even get me any more started than that. So, this talks about a sacred contract. Those, I feel, are the ones to honor. And that's like what I was saying, where you don't even need one of these, because you just kind of know that this is the right way, that you kind of know this is the way, and then if you got to sign one of these, it's not the way So the next card is number 42. That adds up to 6. 6. I need to consult the book. I'm going to look at the number 6 here for tarot. Maybe that's not the place to look. Well, hold on. I know what I'm looking for, so let me see if I can just find it real quick. Nope, don't mean that one. Okay, so that's not the one I want either, though. Hold on. Huh. I cannot find the one I'm looking for. I mean, I could, but I don't want to take longer. So it wasn't the strength card, because that's number 8. And number 8, if you turn it sideways, is the infinity sign. But there is a card in the tarot deck that is a number 6 that shows that same infinity sign, but it also is representing strength. So the one that I looked at that I almost went with, that I'm going to talk about, is the 6 of Cups, which talks about nostalgia and going back. But the thing about nostalgia is there is no going back. It's always got to be a memory in the past. And if you try to recreate it, just like trying to make somebody sign a thing pledging to be loyal, I mean, I wouldn't expect that to hold up forever. Only for, like, the moment when it's useful to both parties, honestly, because this kind of contract is garbage. It's not real. It's a trap that you don't really have to honor. So if you do honor it, you're, again, walking yourself into another trap, I feel like. But that is a trap of your own making. And it's also a trap of your own making when you walk into somebody else's trap. It's very... You gotta question stuff. You can't just be all like, I like the sound of that, even though the whole world is screaming and yelling, that's a really bad idea. Because then you gotta find out later that you were wrong. And you're making everybody else go through stuff that they were, we were like, can we not? Anyway. So back to the number 6. Netcaster. Preparations come to fruition. Well, I guess, it's a shame that the Project 2025 has come into fruition, and it's not new, actually. I don't know when the current version was composed in its current form, but the kind of stuff that's in it has been around since, like, Goldwater and McCarthy, like, back in history, and even further back when, before the Civil Rights era, listen to me, era, but for every one of those that people felt like they gained, we now feel like there's a net being cast to catch up all of that and, like, get rid of it. So, like, all of the preparations that they made on the right that are against things like the civil rights and, giving aid to foreign countries, and they think it's just giving money away. But what you do is you bank good feelings and positive, you make people want to, like, back you, be your ally if you help them. And also, if you just help them, like, you don't need to get anything. There doesn't need to be a string. If someone's starving and they need clothes or medicine or whatever it is, if someone else has it, if another human has it, and they can help, I mean, I feel like it's our instinct to want to do that. But not all of us. Some of us want something else, and they don't want other people to have what they have or what they work to gain. And that's a shame. Unfortunately, it's just kind of the way it is right now, and it's up to us if we want to change things and make them different, or if we don't want certain stuff to happen, we need to get up off our butts and not be complacent anymore, you know? We all need to do the best we can. If we want stuff to change, those of us that want stuff to change actually have to be the movers of the change. And I also often talk about spirituality wise, because I learned this. It's not like something I invented, but you know, it's sort of that heal yourself thing. I've been talking off and on to someone that I call Libido Man, and my advice to them was, you know, you're always looking for love, and then it doesn't work out, and it's like, I mean, you've been Libido Man for like 30 years, bro. You don't notice that, like, maybe you're doing it wrong? And what I mean by that is, if you don't, like, love yourself, and that is more than just those words, like, there's depth to that, you know, because the reason why people, I think a main reason why people don't love themselves is because they have fears, they have insecurities, and man, we can make this so big in ourselves, and it's like powerful, famous, successful people have a little tiny scared nugget in there kind of controlling the whole rest of the body, like one of those weird creatures from Star Wars that's just a weird little booger body inside a robot. I guess Grendel, Grogu did that too, but Grogu's not gross. Grogu's cute, and Grogu's not evil. He's just a baby, a very old baby. Anyway, I'm getting all sidetracked, and I don't even know what I was just talking about. It doesn't matter. I think I made my point somewhere in there. So the next card is number 62. That is 8, and that is in tarot and other places. 8 is a number that represents strength, and also infinity. If you turn it sideways, the 8. So the card is Will-o'-the-Wisp, treasures hidden in the shadows. So the Will-o'-the-Wisp is like this. The way I've always understood it is that it's like a kind of a nighttime thing, which is kind of how it's depicted here, and it seems to be growing up and around a fountain, that sort of winged face head situation. But as I was gonna say, the Will-o'-the-Wisp is a phenomenon of like mist or fog in like the evening or twilight or something like that, where you can actually see it, and it has an indeterminate shape, and it could be scary or it could be benevolent and cute, or like whatever it is. Like, people perceive things in different ways, and your perception is going to be colored by however you're feeling. So if you're feeling small and scared and insecure, like maybe you're gonna see something scary out there rather than something that just wants to cuddle you, you know? I mean, that's just always been my impression of like Will-o'-the-Wisp, and I only ever heard about it when I was younger, like reading books about like Little House on the Prairie and stuff like that, that's like old, where like you don't really hear people saying, oh, you know, there's a Will-o'-the-Wisp out there. You'd say that today and people would be, oh, there's a who, the what, where, like, they wouldn't know what to look for, I think, because that's another word like loyalty that's kind of antiquated that you just don't hear anymore. Ooh, I gotta hurry. So, treasures hidden in the shadows. So, I mean, like I was saying, you could see something scary, or you could see something pleasant, not scary, or something completely innocuous, like a fountain. And I feel like that's about perceptions, and also learning that rather than it just being something fearful to be found in the dark and in the shadows, that those things don't have to be negatives or bad and scary. Like changing your perception can make all of the difference. And also, I guess when it comes to the loyalty subject, you could be looking at something and thinking you see one thing when really what you're looking at is something else entirely, and that is kind of deceptive and scary. I don't like to put that on the poor will-o'-the-wisp. It's just a phenomenon. I don't think it has intent either way like that, but who knows. So the last card I have here is a number 18, so that adds up to 9, and it's the eyes of the eagle rising above the fray. So I was just talking about that, getting a perspective. And if we're talking about a fray, and we're talking about deceptive appearances and things that are scary or scaring us, and then also fear will make you want to group you, but this is like a different type of like gathering around the fire, because the fire is Trump, and it's not like, I don't think he's gonna protect you as you're sitting next to the fire. I think he's gonna dump gas on you and push you into the fire. So I feel like the perceptions are kind of messed up there. So this guy's got a magnifier, and it's also an eagle. So an eagle eye with a magnifying glass, that is some precision. That's laser, like that like gaze is gonna burn you. It's perceptive. It's seeing all that there is to see. And you know, it's like our national bird in the United States, the eagle is, and so we have endowed it with like all these qualities, and it's, I don't know, like a superior being, I guess you could say. And I'm not saying it isn't. I don't mean to like put it down, the bird, at all. I just like am kind of laughing that we chose this bird and we given it all these qualities that we feel makes it and us look strong and smart and good or whatever. And I'm just laughing because there's all this tiger stuff that happens in that same way, and it's like the poor tiger's like, man, why are you guys making me be a part of your war stuff? You're like on the land where we live. We don't like it. That is the tigers. Anyway, yeah, so rising above the fray. Some do it. Some can see clearly. Some do question, you know. Some come to it later, and it's true. Then people go back and look at, like, what was I really seeing? What was I thinking? And then they gain clarity. So, you know, the way life is, it's like there are cycles, and one of the cycles is our mortality cycle. And another reason not to be so fearful of the situation is the dude at the top of the heap there in the White House is old and he ain't in great health, which I'm just stating facts. That doesn't add up to longevity. There we are. I guess I did know I was going to say that word. Oh, I'm going to mix those in. And what just fell? Oh. Well, that doesn't matter. Hold on. If I pick it up, I'd go crazy. Okay, so I guess I've said what I have to say about loyalty. I mean, watch out for it. But you know what? Most of us, I don't think, are going to give it away without good reason, without someone having earned it. So, I don't know. Those are my thoughts on the matter. Those are my thoughts. I actually have more than one. I had several. But you got them. Thanks. Thanks you. Thank you and good night. Boop.